Amy couldn't stop herself from doing a post on Instagram about something that annoys the hell out of her. And I loved the post so much that I've invited her to come on today and talk to us more about that. So Amy, what was it that annoyed you so much that you couldn't stop yourself from doing a post on Instagram?
Well, Valerie, I am an educator and a life coach, and I believe that coaching is an incredibly valuable tool and resource. However, there are a lot of coaches out there who are peddling dreams that just don't exist. The ideas that manifestation is some sort of magic pill that requires no effort on your part, just giving them money.
And you called it something. You called your post something.
The manifestation myth. It is the manifestation myth. The idea that all I have to do is say my mantras, create my vision board, sit back and let the universe bring it all to me because my vibe is high.
Yeah. Yes.
When in reality, yes, these things are wonderful tools. It is good to have positive energy. Vision boards and mantras can be wonderful focusing tools, but they're not the be all end all. Action is what's required to make changes. Action is what is required to make dreams come true, to get these pictures off your vision board into your life. But these coaches are convincing people, women especially, that all you have to do is this vision board and then sit back and the universe will bring you everything you want. And that's incredibly damaging. And I believe that as a psychologist, you can speak very much to the damage that can be done.
Absolutely. I mean, I was a therapist for 20 years, and one of the problems in general is people not having sufficiently good boundaries to protect themselves in relationships. And what I was interested in what you just said about it being particularly women who are drawn into this. So I've got a couple of ideas about why certain people are very attracted to this manifestation myth, as you call it. I think it's interesting that it's women, and why I think that's the case is that culturally, women are typically encouraged to be passive, receptive, and subordinate to authority. So I think it's very interesting that if you went to a manifestation thing, event, workshop, whatever, the vast majority of the people there would be women. I genuinely think there's a group of women who have really bought into a sort of passive, receptive, submission to authority approach to life, who are very receptive to the idea that doing nothing, or being told what to do and doing nothing very much yourself is the way to go. It's feminine. It's a feminine approach to life, to be quite passive. The other thing that occurs to me is it's a psychological drive. So from an evolutionary point of view, in order to survive as an organism, you have to have more energy coming in than going out, right? And of course, there's two ways to make that happen. To focus on energy coming in, like devouring, getting, acquiring, accomplishing what you need, or you minimize the energy going out. You do as little as you acquire a little, but also do as little as possible to expend energy. And so you're in a positive energy state, if you like. And I don't mean sort of an energy universe sense. I mean a sort of calorific sense, if you like. And I think there are people with all of these biologically driven drives, there are variations across the population. So you see some people for whom the urge to increase energy in is dialed up. That's the way that they make sure that ratio is in the right direction. For other people, they make sure that their energy going out is the focus, that the energy expenditure dial is dialed down a lot. And I think that's what this manifestation myth is tapping into. It's called the preservation of energy drive. that any organism needs to get more in than going out. And one of the things you'll do is do as little as possible to expend as little energy as possible. And I think fundamentally that manifestation myth is really tapping into that sort of psychological, biological drive of, if you do as little as possible to get as much as you can, that's the way to survive. And I really believe that that manifestation myth is tapping into that drive. What, maybe 50 or 100 years ago, people would have called laziness. I don't think it's laziness per se, not in that moral sense, but I do think for some people, the way that they get through life is to focus on doing as little as possible, expending as little as possible to get as much as possible. So that's my view on what that's tapping into. I was interested in, from your point of view as a coach, dealing with people on the ground. How would you confront someone with this? Like, how would you deal with someone who believes in this manifestation idea? How would you shift them from doing as little as possible to doing more to get what they want?
It really becomes, as I briefly touched on earlier, a matter of letting them understand, guiding them to understand that these ideas that they're being presented in the manifestation myth are meant to be tools for focus. That if you are someone who's highly visual and you have goals that you'd like to reach, it isn't a bad idea to create a vision board so that you've got that visual representation that you can see every day. However, the issue becomes when that is the be all end all of your plan to make these dreams come true. And so then it becomes, okay, you've got this vision board, fabulous. So every day in the morning, take your 5 minutes, whatever, to look at it and build up that feeling that you get from seeing these images and that desire, and then come up with one thing that you can do today to take you a step closer. Because as you said, if this is someone who has that energy conservation, they're not going to want to be told the old hustle, 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 to get it done, because that's outside their nature. And that then they're going to just shut down. So it becomes finding that balance between the hustle culture and the sit back manifestation myth. And say, it doesn't need to be all or nothing.
Yes.
Use these as a tool. Use the mantra. If you're verbal, use the mantra as a tool every day to get yourself psyched up, so to speak. But then you have to choose an action to take that day. And for many people, it's starting with one action, because more than that becomes overwhelming, because again, the energy conservation, and each day finding the next action to take versus sitting back and expecting things to fall into your lap, because that just doesn't happen.
You're really tapping into what actually coaching is about. I mean, you think about the origin of the word coaching. Now it's applied to psychological things, but a coach was someone who was standing next to an athlete, telling them what to do. So
yes, it should be about making a plan and taking the action, and not, and as we're talking with the psychological sense, not necessarily telling someone what to do, but helping them decide for themselves and take ownership and create the action in their life, rather than saying, no, you can sit back and not do anything and all good things will come to you. Just keep sending me the money. Because the other thing that happens is when you're in a relationship with that type of coach, and there are sadly too many of them out there, the guilt and the shame builds, because you don't see the results, and then you feel, well, what am I doing wrong? It works for my coach, but it doesn't, because your coach is out there
hustling, actually.
Yes, doing things to get your money, peddling you these lies. They're not sitting back.
No.
But the clients then feel this guilt and shame that they're doing something wrong.
I must be doing it wrong. I must be doing the imagining wrong.
Exactly. And then it compounds, because the coach those types of coach will say, well, have you really examined whether you're aligned to the universe?
Yeah.
Have you raised your vibration high enough?
Yes.
Are you feeling your manifestations
Or
deep
my
enough?
my favorite, have you got a money block?
Yes,
Really?
yes, yes. Let's work through those money blocks.
That's right. Yeah.
Because so often the coaches that do this are they call themselves, yes, money coaches or
Yeah.
manifestation coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes back to my first sort of speculation on what this is tapping into. For people who are passive, who've been taught culturally to be passive and to respect authority, these people speak with so much authority that the mere authority with which they say the message is convincing. People aren't critically thinking, setting aside the confidence with which this person says it, and actually focus on, do the words that they say make any sense?
Yes, because so often I've heard people say, well, I was working with this coach and I didn't really understand anything that they were talking about, but I thought it was me, and that if I took the next step, that then I would get the key that would help me to understand, when really the coach is spouting a bunch of nonsense words.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. So yeah, so beware of people saying nonsense with authority. But recognize yourself if you tend to be somebody who is very responsive to authority, and take care with that. And be aware if you're somebody who's into conservation of energy, like you like the most easy, low effort solution. Recognize that in yourself. It's not a moral judgment. It's a rational choice as an organism to survive. But knowing that if what you really want is success, that some steps are going to, as you say, some steps are going to be required to do it. If you're not up for doing the steps, that's okay. And maybe you let go of the fantasy of the big house and the car and all the rest of it, but recognizing the truths about yourself. So I really wanted to thank you again for having the courage to make that post and call it the manifestation myth, and call it out, because there's so much of it there. I thought it was very brave of you, and you know, it means only a certain number of people are going to be attracted to you as someone who actually wants to go the next step, what I would call beyond the vision board.
Yes.
Beyond the vision board into actual coaching to take action with someone like Amy. So,
yes.
So everybody, if you're now at the point where you're beyond the vision board, you've tried the manifestation myth, you've tried doing as little as possible, your vibration maybe isn't working, the crystals have stopped working for you, the spirit guides are not working for you, you're not sure what your coach is saying to you, if you're like, you know what, I still want what I want, but I think I'm suspecting I might actually have to do something to get it, I would encourage you to talk to Amy, because she's going to be good at helping you figure out what you want and what you have to do to get it. So again, thank you, Amy, for bringing up the manifestation myth. And thank you for joining me today to expose it a little bit further.
Thank you so much, Valerie. And just remember, if what a coach is telling you seems too good to be true, it probably is.